Hey everyone, welcome back to Extra Rise English Podcast, the show that helps you level up your English one real conversation at a time. I am Mia.
And I am Leo. So glad you are here.
Okay, so today is a special one. If you have been listening to Extra Rise from the very beginning, today is the episode you have been waiting for. Because in our very first episode, we talked about why you understand English but cannot speak it. And one of the main reasons we identified was translation mode, the habit of thinking in your native language first and then translating to English before you speak.
And at the end of that episode, I said, thinking in English is a habit, not a talent. It can be trained.
And a lot of you came to the comments and said, okay, but how? How do you actually do that? How do you break a habit that has been with you since you first started learning English?
Which is exactly the right question, because naming the problem is only half the work. Today, we're giving you the other half.
Today, we are getting into the actual practical methods, the specific daily habits and in-the-moment techniques that train your brain to think in English instead of through it. Not theory, not advice, actual drills and habits you can start today.
3 methods, all of them backed by how language acquisition actually works. All of them doable without any special tools or equipment, just your brain and a commitment to about 10 minutes a day.
10 minutes. That is it. Let's get into it. This is segment 1, why translation mode is so hard to break. Leo, I want to start with the honest version of why this is hard, because people here just think in English, and they try it for 5 minutes and then give up because it feels impossible.
Right, and it feels impossible because of how the habit formed in the first place. When you learned English, you learned it through your native language. Your teacher explained English grammar in your language. Your textbook had translations. Every new word you learned, you associated with its equivalent in your language. So your brain built a very specific pathway, native language first, English second, and that pathway has been reinforced every single time you've used English for years.
So it's not a weakness, it's literally just a well-worn road.
Exactly. Your brain takes the road it knows, and the road it knows goes through your native language. The goal is not to destroy that road. You cannot, and you should not. Your native language is part of who you are. The goal is to build a new road that goes directly from thought to English, and new roads take time to build.
Right. You can't build a road in a day, but you can lay a few meters of it every day, and after a few months, you have a road.
That's exactly the right way to think about it. And here's something important to understand about how that new road gets built. It doesn't get built by studying, it gets built by doing. Every time you think in English, even for 30 seconds, even imperfectly, you're laying more road. Every time you default back to translation mode, you're taking the old road instead of the new one. The new road only gets stronger through use.
So the question is not, am I smart enough to think in English? The question is, how often am I actually choosing the new road?
Exactly. And the 3 methods we're going to talk about today are all about making it easier and more natural to choose the new road, so that over time, choosing English first stops being a choice and starts being automatic.
Okay, I love that. Let's build the methods. This is segment 2, the 3 methods.
Method number 1, the running commentary habit. This is the simplest and most powerful habit for training your brain to think in English. Here's how it works. At any point during your day, while you're making breakfast, commuting, walking to class, doing something repetitive, you narrate what you're seeing and doing in English, out loud if possible, in your head if you're in public.
Okay, what does that actually sound like?
So you wake up in the morning and you think, okay, I need to make coffee. The water is almost boiling. I should have gone to bed earlier. I have a meeting at 10. I hope the traffic is not too bad today. None of that is complicated English. None of it is impressive vocabulary. But every single one of those thoughts is a choice to use English instead of your native language. And every choice builds the road.
Right, and the beauty of this method is that it uses situations you're already in. You don't need to create special study time. You're just changing what language you use for your existing thoughts.
Exactly. And the key thing is, don't try to be grammatically perfect when you do this. The point is not accuracy. The point is fluency. If you stop to think about whether something is grammatically correct, you're back in translation mode, checking your output against rules you know in your native language. Just let the thoughts flow in English. Grammar will improve naturally as you build the habit.
Okay, that's such an important point. Fluency first, accuracy later. Because if you're stopping to check grammar every few seconds, you're not building a new road, you're just walking the old road very slowly.
Exactly. The running commentary habit is about speed and naturalness. Imperfect English that flows beats perfect English that never comes out. Method number 2, the word swapping habit. This one is specifically for breaking the translation reflex on individual words, which is where most people get stuck. You're in a conversation and you can't think of the English word for something, so your brain throws up the word in your native language and then tries to translate it. And while it's doing that, you freeze.
Yes, I know this freeze. It's the most frustrating freeze.
The fix for this is to build what I call a swap vocabulary, a set of go-to English words and phrases that you can use to fill gaps when you can't find the exact word you need. Things like, what's the word, something like, you know what I mean, the thing that, I'm trying to say. These are all legitimate, natural English expressions that native speakers use all the time when they're searching for a word, and they buy you time without breaking the flow of the conversation.
Oh, that's such a reframe, because I always thought if I use those phrases, people will know I don't know the word, but native speakers use them too?
All the time. The difference between a native speaker and a learner is that native speakers not always know every word. It's that native speakers have strategies when they don't, and those strategies keep the conversation flowing instead of stopping it dead.
Okay, pause. That reframe right there. The difference is not knowing every word, it's having strategies when you don't. That's the kind of thing that changes how you see your own English. This is exactly what we bring you every week on Extrarise. If you're not subscribed yet, hit subscribe right now. You don't want to miss what's coming next.
Okay, back to method 2. The word swapping habit is about building that strategy vocabulary so it's ready when you need it. Practice using these gap-filling phrases in low-stakes conversations first, with friends, with classmates, in casual situations. And over time, reaching for English first instead of translating becomes the default because you know that even if you can't find the exact word, you have strategies to keep going.
Right, you're never stuck. You always have a move.
Always. Method number 3, the immersion sprint. This is the most intensive of the 3, and you don't do it all day, you do it for a set time period, ideally 10 to 20 minutes, and you commit fully for that window. Here's how it works. You pick a time period and you make a rule. For the next 15 minutes, every thought I have will be in English. Not most of my thoughts, all of them, even the ones that feel weird or clunky or incomplete.
Okay, that sounds intense. What happens when you can't think of how to say something?
You use your swap vocabulary, or you describe around it. If you can't think of the word for something, you describe what it does or what it looks like. A thing you wear on your wrist that tells you the time. A device that makes coffee hot. The person who teaches you at university. Describing around the word is not a failure. It's actually a very advanced language skill. It's what fluent speakers do when they want to express something precisely.
Right, and it trains your brain to work in English when it doesn't have the exact vocabulary, because in a real conversation, you don't get to pause and look up a word. You have to keep going.
Exactly. And here's the important thing about the immersion sprint. You don't do it when you're tired or distracted. You do it when you're alert and focused, because it takes real mental energy, especially at the beginning. But the return on that energy is enormous. 15 focused minutes of full English thinking does more to build the new road than 2 hours of passive English consumption.
Active beats passive, every time.
Every single time. Okay, let's go to the phrases. This is the key phrases section.
3 phrases from today, all of them directly useful for the methods we just discussed. Leo, first one.
Phrase number 1, you know what I mean. This is part of your swap vocabulary, the gap-filling phrases that keep the conversation flowing when you can't find an exact word. You know what I mean signals to the other person that you're conveying a concept, even if the specific vocabulary is not coming to you right now. And here's the thing. Native speakers say you know what I mean all the time. It's not a sign of low English. It's a natural part of conversational flow.
Right, and the other person almost always does know what you mean because context carries so much of the meaning in any conversation. You know what I mean invites them to confirm that understanding and keep the conversation going. You can also use does that make sense or am I explaining that clearly, both of which do the same job and also show self-awareness, which is actually a sign of a confident communicator.
Exactly. Phrase number 2, what's the word for? This is the most honest, gap-filling phrase in the English language. You're mid-sentence and you can't find the word. Instead of freezing, you say, "What's the word for," and then describe what you're trying to say. What's the word for that feeling when you work really hard on something and then it gets canceled? What's the word for the noise a door makes when it needs oil?
Both of which I need on a daily basis.
Right. And the beautiful thing about this phrase is that it turns your vocabulary gap into a collaborative moment. You're inviting the other person to help you find the word, which makes the conversation more engaging, not less. And when they give you the word, you learn it in context attached to a real moment, which means you're much more likely to remember it.
Right. What's the word for is not an admission of failure, it's a conversation move, a good one. Phrase number 3, let me think about that in English. This one is for moments when someone asks you something and your instinct is to think about it in your native language first. Instead of doing that, you say this phrase out loud. Let me think about that in English. And then you actually do it. You think about it in English, out loud or in your head, and then you give your answer.
And what this phrase does is two things at once. It buys you thinking time, which is completely acceptable in any conversation, and it holds you accountable to using English for your thought process. Once you've said out loud, "Let me think about that in English," you've committed to doing exactly that. You cannot then just translate in your head and give the answer. You said you would think in English, so now you have to.
That accountability element is so interesting. You're making a public commitment to the new road in real time.
Right. And the other person hears it as thoughtfulness. They think you are carefully considering your answer, which makes them more patient and more engaged. Everybody wins.
Okay, listeners, 3 phrases. You know what I mean? What is the word for? Let me think about that in English. Say those out loud right now. Pause. Say them. All right, segment 3, the drill. 3 scenarios, 1 for each method. Leo demonstrates, you say it with him out loud. Let us go. Leo, ready?
Ready.
Okay, scenario 1, the running commentary habit. You're walking to a coffee shop to meet a friend. Give me 30 seconds of running commentary. Everything you're seeing and thinking in English.
Okay, it's a bit cloudy today. I should have brought a jacket. This street is always busy in the morning. I wonder if Maya's already there. She's usually early. I should have left 10 minutes ago, honestly. Oh, there's a new cafe on the corner. I've never noticed that before. Okay, I can see the place from here. She's not outside yet, so I'm probably fine.
Did you hear how natural that was? None of those sentences were complicated. None of them used advanced vocabulary. But every single one was a thought happening directly in English. No translation, no grammar checking, just thoughts flowing. And the more you do that, the more natural it becomes. Say your own 30 seconds of commentary out loud right now. Look around you wherever you're listening to this. Describe what you see and what you're thinking. Go.
And don't judge it. Whatever comes out, let it come out. Clunky English that flows is the goal, not perfect English that freezes.
Okay, scenario 2, the word swapping habit. You're in a conversation and you want to say the thing you feel when you're nervous about something but also kind of excited about it, but you can't remember or you're not sure if you know the English word for it. How do you keep the conversation going?
I would say, you know that feeling when something is coming up and you're kind of nervous but also really looking forward to it at the same time? You know what I mean, like a mix of excitement and anxiety. Actually, what is the word for that? Is it anticipation? Something like that.
Perfect. He described around the word instead of freezing. He used, you know what I mean, to check that the other person was following. He asked, what is the word for? Turning his gap into a collaborative moment. And then he even guessed, is it anticipation? Which shows he was actively working in English the whole time, not translating, working.
And the word is anticipation, or sometimes people say nervous excitement. Both work. But the point is, he got through the moment without freezing, and the conversation kept going. Say that out loud now. You know that feeling when, and describe something from your own life that you can't find the exact English word for. Go.
Last one, scenario 3, the immersion sprint. Someone asks you, what do you think about learning English as an adult? Is it harder than learning as a child? And you decide, right now, I'm going to think about this in English and answer in English without translating anything. What do you say?
Let me think about that in English. I think it's different rather than harder. Children learn languages without thinking about them. They just absorb. Adults think about everything, the grammar, the rules, whether they're saying it right, and that thinking actually gets in the way sometimes. But adults also have advantages. We have more vocabulary in our native language to draw on. We understand context better, and we're more motivated because we have real reasons to learn. So I think adults can actually learn very effectively. They just need to get out of their own way and stop treating every mistake like a failure.
Okay, that answer was so good, and notice what he didn't do. He didn't stop mid-sentence to check his grammar. He didn't freeze on a word. He didn't translate anything. You could tell from how naturally it flowed. He just thought in English and spoke in English, and the whole thing came out connected and coherent. That's what the immersion sprint builds towards. That's what the new road feels like when it's working.
And that answer took maybe 45 seconds. 45 seconds of committed English thinking. That's the whole habit. Not hours, not a perfect score, just 45 seconds of choosing the new road.
Choose the new road. Okay, listeners, try scenario 3 yourself right now. Pause the episode. Ask yourself that same question. Is learning English as an adult harder than learning as a child? And answer it out loud in English. No translating, no stopping to check grammar. Just think and speak. Go. All right, we're wrapping up, and this episode feels like a full circle moment. We started Extra Rise by naming the problem. You understand English, but you can't speak it. And today, we gave you the solution. Not a shortcut, not a hack, a road. 3 methods that lay that road one conversation at a time. The running commentary, the word swapping habit, the immersion sprint. 10 minutes a day, that's all it takes to start. And every day you practice, the road gets a little wider, a little smoother, a little faster to travel.
And here's the thing we want you to carry from today and from this whole first run of episodes. Your English is not broken. It was just trained in one direction. And now you're training it in a new one. That takes time, but it's happening. Every episode you've listened to, every phrase you've practiced out loud, every time you tried something from our drill in a real situation, that was road building. You've already started.
You've already started, and that's everything. Your assignment for this week, pick one of the 3 methods and commit to it for 7 days. Just one. The running commentary for 10 minutes a day, the word swapping phrases in your next 3 conversations, one 15-minute immersion sprint before bed each night. One method, 7 days. Then come to the comments and tell us what you noticed. We read every single one.
We genuinely do. And honestly, if you've been listening from episode 1 and you've made it all the way here, we want to hear from you. Tell us what changed. Tell us what was hard. Tell us what surprised you. That kind of feedback makes Extra Rise better for everyone.
And if this episode or any episode from this first run gave you something real and useful, share it with one person who's on the same journey. Not because it helps us, because that person is out there right now thinking their English will never get better, and you know something they don't yet. Be the one who sends it to them.
And if you want more of this every single week, subscribe. We'll be here every week. New episode, new tools, new road.
Because one serving of English is never enough.
Never enough rice, never enough English.
See you in the next episode.